Cecilia.
Yes.
Cecilia, you're breaking my heart.
Right as we go live, we get a little concert
Hey,
from Ed.
that's always what they can.
That's how it works.
They know what they get, and they get what they know.
Yes, Ed will be bringing the energy and the excitement for today's show as Chris manages to sniffle his way and cough his way through the show. So yes, if you are listening to us here live via YouTube or Facebook or Twitter, I apologize ahead of time. I will do my best to hit mute so I do not cough all over everything, or at least you won't hear it. But once I get going, I'm deaf in one ear due to this illness. So that's the one I put the earbud in so I can not hear Ed and blame it on the deaf ear.
It's my bad ear.
It's my bad ear. Yeah.
I got you.
And Doug is in the house.
Hey, Doug. What's up, dog?
Good to see Doug. So, but yeah, I'm doing a lot better this Monday than I was doing last Monday. Last Monday was no bueno. It was pretty bad. So,
and you probably got it the Monday before that, or the Tuesday,
I'm sure,
or the Wednesday before that.
Well, that's the thing. It's like, came back from Vegas. My son had that stomach flu bug, whatever that was. So that went through the house. So shot immunity down to nothing.
Right.
And then we'll say okay after about a week of that. And then he got sick on Thursday of that week. We did episode 104, and then that was on Monday, and then that Thursday
that was the Monday before Vegas.
No, we didn't start getting sick until after I came back from Vegas, a week after Vegas.
No, I mean we recorded 104 the Monday before Vegas.
No, it was the Monday after Vegas.
Was it?
Yeah.
Oh. We've been out 2 weeks.
We recorded last week.
Or two weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well,
no, we recorded we didn't record this past Monday.
Right.
But the Monday before last. Yeah.
But the Monday before last, I thought you were in Vegas.
No, that was three. I was in Vegas middle of November.
Wow.
Yeah, it was before Thanksgiving.
Okay. Well, there we go.
So I was sick for Thanksgiving, so we couldn't do that. And then get better, do a show. Camden gets sick with like 102 plus degree fever on Thursday, so he is done. He's out. And then by Sunday, Karen and I both had it.
Okay.
And then he actually got better. I mean, he's still congested, but he's much better than we are. But yeah, so that's what it is. Sick. It'll all be over with eventually.
Hey, eventually.
So, all right, you ready to get rolling?
Yeah.
Try and use all my energy here at the beginning of the show. We'll see how long it lasts. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is episode 105. I am one of your co-hosts, Chris Parton. With me as always is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you, sir?
Healthy. How are you?
I am sick. So I appreciate you saying that.
Yes. I am not healthy.
I am healthy. Okay. I am not sick. So
that's me being 55 years old and a dick rubbing it in. Yeah. There we go.
So yeah,
and I say 55 because I should be sick too. I mean, I'm old, so that goes hand in hand. Hello, Terry Moore.
I feel as my dad told me when I turned 49 last month. He was like, "Well, you've only got a year to go." I was like, "What does that mean?" It's like, what is,
take it as you will.
It's just 50, man. It's not that bad.
Take it as you will.
Although without a haircut and not shaved in a while, I feel like I'm much older than or at least I look a lot older than I am.
Shaved either.
So I'm going with the what's Kurt Russell's son's name? I saw an interview with him about Monarch.
Jack Russell.
Jack. Yeah, on they were talking about Monarch, and I was like, "Wow, you look so much older than your dad right now," because he's just got long hair and a big beard, and it's all grayed out. I was just like, "Whoa!" It's like, must be that must be an interesting time at the house. So.
Haven't caught an episode of that yet, but I want to.
I haven't either, and it looks good. I mean, and with the new trailer for the new Godzilla Kong movie,
it's about to leave theaters, isn't it?
It's about to come into theaters.
I thought it was on a limited run already here in the U.S. and getting ready.
No, you're talking about the. You're probably thinking about Godzilla -1.
Oh yes,
that's a different movie. Oh. Yeah, we're just getting kaiju movies left and right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Which movie did you say?
They just released the trailer this past weekend for the new Godzilla King Kong movie, which is part of the Monarch.
Okay.
Series
Godzilla
of movies.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah.
Sorry.
It's with the purple pink Godzilla.
That's yes, yeah.
So I'm curious about why that is, but we'll
maybe we'll find out.
I hope maybe we won't find out.
Human beings probably poisoned him or something. It's some kind of radioactive algae or who knows.
So we'll go ahead and get started with a listener email. Mr. Peter Rios sent us an email. He's like, "Hey, Chris and Ed, in one of your last episodes, you called out to listeners to poke your brains about older Boom titles. So any thoughts on the 3 Stan Lee titles from 2011? Soldier Zero, Starborn, and The Traveler." This was Boom Studios doing superhero comics. He said, "I've only read the first issue of each, but it's fun to see that Kerry Randolph did the art for Starborn, considering how much you're both enjoying Sirens of the City. Thanks, Peter." That is true. And I do remember picking up Starborn. I remember picking up all of them. I don't remember what any of them are about.
I don't remember them. We're looking at, what is that, 12 and 13 years ago? Yeah. I'm lucky I can remember my name from that long ago. So
I do remember them quite well because I thought the idea of Stan Lee coming in and just creating something new was a great idea.
Very cool. Yeah.
And I do remember them. I remember enjoying something about them. I think I tend to not remember things that if I really, really didn't like something, that reason will stick out in my head.
Right.
But I don't remember much about them. I do remember cover art. I remember Kerry Randolph doing work. This is also during they had some really good trade dresses that were trying to kind of quote unquote line wide, for their superhero titles and stuff like that. Definitely a bunch of books that would be interesting to go back and read again. And I'm curious on sort of the publishing rights on those. Because, would it be something that Boom has the rights to publish again, or was it something that was sort of a deal between them and Stan Lee at the time, and that, after so long, or maybe that just was only available for that particular time period, and they can't publish anymore.
Well,
now the back issues are easy to find.
Oh yeah, and they're very cheap. Lone Star Comics doesn't have any other designation other than Boom Studios. Usually, if there is a co-publishing or something like that, they'll list that information.
Yeah.
All they have it under is just Boom. So each of those issues, each of those books that Chris, each of those books that Peter mentioned, Soldier Zero, Starborn, and Traveler. Each of them were 12 issues. Each of them have 3 trades. So,
yep.
The trades, actually, the single issues seem easier to get a hold of than the trades.
Yeah. Yeah, and their back issues, it doesn't matter when and where I've looked for back issues. I tend to see maybe not the whole series, but I do see a good number of the back issues alone, at a location or something like that. I mean, I even remember I was looking for them maybe 6 or 8 months ago at 2 shops here in Raleigh, and they both had a number of the back issues still. So they're at least back there for a lot of these shops will keep something that we'll say that old. I mean, it's not really that old, but it's not a Marvel or DC book, or it's not Walking Dead. So they don't tend to keep a lot of those back issues sort of in the upfront back issues. They may have them in storage or something like that, just because people aren't looking for them that much. But usually when I see something like that sitting in a back issue bin, it means some folks have been looking for them, or at least asking for them, so they're available. Right. So that's good. But yeah, those are good books, Peter. Glad you mentioned those. Yeah, if you've got other books and stuff like that you want to see if we remember, and trust me, we'll let you know if we remember or not. I'm sure there are quite a few early Boom books. I have gone through in the last year or so and put together sort of a list of books that I need to hunt down from like the early days of Boom. And I was like, I don't even remember what some of these books were. A lot of them are the Warhammer stuff and the mini Cthulhu tale type books and right. And stuff like that. But then also, speaking of Carrie Randolph, I came across Suburbia. Is it Suburbia? Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. So that was one of his from way back. So, but yeah, so it's one of those things. I've been a big fan of Carrie Randolph for quite some time with books like that. So yeah, Sirens of the City. And we'll talk about issue number 5 a little bit later. But that just shows the growth of his art style. I mean, it was good then, but it's like astronomically better now than it was back then. So
yeah, definitely
just good stuff. So yeah, if you've got other books and stuff you want to test us on or send us, see if we can remember, please do so. We'll definitely rack our brains a little bit. I didn't even put this in the show notes until right before we did the show. So Ed didn't get a heads up. I didn't even look at the email until right before the show. So I was like, oh, look, there's an email. Sweet. Let's go ahead and dive into our favorite segment, FOC. So this is the books that are due out, or the orders cut off next Monday, which is the 18th. We are looking at Capital Comics here in Raleigh. As said before, they tend to put their FOCs up for the following week a day early, which is always good for us. At least I think this is a day early, so we'll just pretend it is. I did not double check. Probably should double check real quick. Let's do that. Let me do that real quick. Bye.
Is Damn Them All one of them, or am I looking at the wrong page?
Yes, Damn Them All number 12 is, they've got it as one of them. I'm just looking on Preview Worlds real quick just to...
This has 12/11/2023 is the date for them. Wouldn't that be today?
Yes.
FOC?
All right, so last week's FOC, the one that was due today, actually had the Pine and Merrimack number 1 in it.
Okay.
So we are looking at the new list. So that's good. So yeah, so we've got Damn Them All number 12. I guess this is the last issue of this series. Yep. So we get 3 covers for, well, at least 3 that are listed, but there's a cover D, so there's obviously a C in there somewhere. So we'll get that wrapped up. And
I think I tweeted about that today.
Yeah, there was it was like in a top 10 list or something like that for end of the
Somebody's
year.
something,
Yeah.
yeah.
So which is good because I haven't really heard a lot of folks talking about it.
No.
But we are at that time of year, so we're going to start getting top 10 lists and stuff like that. So
Oh, I'm sure Rare Flavors is gonna be on everybody's list
I'm
because of
sure.
what happened in the past. Yeah, it's like,
Yep.
it's not even
Yeah.
over, people, come on.
Yep. Give it some time, man. Give some time.
Next year, best of.
Yes. Lotus Land number 3 of 6. So we've got cover A, cover B. We've got the Power Rangers Archive Deluxe Edition hardcover book 2. Let's see what is going to be in this. This is covering a lot of it's covering
This
Mighty
is
Morphin Power Rangers from
oh,
the Hamilton comic days, volume
yeah.
1 and 2. So we get Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Saga number 1 through 3, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Marvel Comics number 1 through 7, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Ninja Rangers number 1 through 5, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers from Image Comics Zeo number 1. I didn't even know Image Comics did a Power Rangers book.
I remember Zeo.
So that one's packed. And then we get Zawa number 3 of 5, a cover A, a B, and an E. And this is super early, so obviously they haven't loaded the images, but this is the FOC reveal variant. So we'll have a C and a D as well. So yeah, some good books. Some good books coming out. Do you happen to have what's coming out this week pulled up?
No, but I can get that.
All right.
Just see the camera. I'm giving you the cue, Chris. See the camera. That's stretch. Come on, stretch.
Yeah. Oh, that's me stretching. Okay,
yeah,
so
come on, stretch.
So Chris is there's actually we got a new first issue coming out next week that'll be I'm looking forward to. So it's Under Heist number 1. I know we've got probably 4 or 5 books next week coming out. Next week, which will be our episode 106, will probably be the last episode of the year. Just sort of a heads up, because the following Monday is Christmas. Literally, is Christmas Day. So
yep.
as dedicated as Ed and I are to the show, Christmas Day, we're probably going to take that one off.
Yeah, I think that's a little bit of fam time coming there.
I think both of us would get a lot of negative feedback.
Yeah, I'm not sure getting that past everybody would work too well. So yeah.
But then and then the following Monday will be the 1st. So I don't want us to go too long without doing an episode. So Ed and I'll work it out. If you follow us on Twitter, you'll definitely know if we're going to do sort of an off the path or off schedule show or something like that. But yeah, so at least next week we'll do a live episode. We may do non-live episodes between then. Who knows? We'll see. We'll talk about it after, some other time. So
yeah.
Was that stretching long enough for you?
That did it. Yes, sir.
All right.
So we're looking at, and I don't know how to order what I'm looking at other than the way I'm going to say it. I don't know if there is a way to order it because it's kind of thrown around. I'm looking at the League of Comic Geeks.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it's not, everything isn't together because they do it weirdly. But it looks like House of Slaughter 20 should be coming out here in a couple days. 12, 13. Yeah. Damn Them All number 11. Zawa and the Belly of the Beast 2. The book that you mentioned, Under Heist. You've got Comic Geeks up too. Yeah, see, here's where we start getting weird. Multiple covers of House of Slaughter, because I know what I can do is just do the regular issues. And actually, it's just those 4 regular books as far as our regular things. And we have been reading all of those, Under Heist being a number 1. So we'll probably be in shape to talk about all of those.
Yep.
And then let me do these. C and G covers H. Let's see, it goes all the way up to H for House of Slaughter. So what is that? A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Eight covers at least.
Yeah.
The Seasons Have Teeth trade paperback.
Going out with a bang.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's the last issue of that.
Oh, no, I'm
storyline.
sorry. That's issue 11. Sorry. No, we got another issue. But House of Slaughter, yeah, that's the last issue of that arc. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah. You were talking about Damn Them All. There's one more because they're cutting it at 12. Seasons Have Teeth. That was a cool book. I enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I did
The
too.
trade paperback for that is dropping.
Mm-hmm.
We have up to an E cover, it looks like, for the Zawa and the Belly of the Beast. So that's a big fiver there. The Expanse Dragon Tooth Volume 1 trade paperback. So that's the first third of that story, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember how many issues they're getting.
Yeah, that one's gonna be 12.
Okay, yeah. So we have what is this? D. We have 4 covers for Underheist, it looks like. Looks like we're going to have 5 covers for Damn Them All. We have a Ghost Lore cover, but that wasn't one of the...
I think that just didn't get sorted with issue 7.
Okay.
Because that's a 125 cover.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's not a Boom Direct. Which
No.
did you watch that this week or last week?
No, I haven't. Not yet.
Okay. You saw that it was out, though?
I did see that it was out,
okay,
yes.
Yeah. And so, well, here's the second printing cover for Lotus Land 1, because it, which we didn't mention, it sold out. Let me look here. Lotus Land sold out. Berserker Fallen Empire sold out.
Mm-hmm.
Something is Killing the Children 35 sold out. Zawa and the Belly of the Beast 1 sold out. That goes all the way back to November 9th. So we've already talked about that. And for those of you that wanted Amory Wars, I believe you missed your chance. I believe it finished up too.
Was that today or yesterday?
Today or yesterday, yeah. I want to say it was yesterday, but that would be on Sunday. That would be kind of a weird time to end it. But yeah, so, and that's going to be 12 issues, I believe.
Yes.
They don't really talk about it on Boom Direct this month. They talked about the Power Rangers book a little bit, not a whole lot, but
they did do if you were a backer,
they did an interview with him. Yeah, that's right. Well, you didn't have to be a backer, did you?
Well, no, you didn't have to be a backer. That's true.
They released that on their Boom Direct YouTube, I think.
Yeah, Anthony did the interview, so. But yeah, lots of good stuff. Yeah, and that Power Ranger one is supposed to be ending pretty soon. So if you haven't backed that, you might want to do that as well.
Yeah, it should be coming up pretty quickly too. And to keep everyone abreast, I have been running afoul of 2 Boom Kickstarters. One of them did finally fulfill. I have received the 3rd volume of my Berserker trade paperback.
Yeah.
And I feel, if Chris will allow me, that in all fairness, I need to mention an exchange that I received, and that was on Twitter, that was above and beyond. It wasn't anything that was requested or required, but somebody went out of their way and did me a solid, and now I don't see it.
Oh, in your DMs.
Yeah, that's... I might have to track that down and mention it next time, because I'm not seeing it quickly here, guys. So, but I have been having trouble with another Now, why would I not see it on my DMs? If they deleted it, it wouldn't delete it from me.
No.
And I don't know why he would have deleted it.
Yeah, are you sure you're looking under Josh?
I'm looking under my DMs and I don't see it. Oh, yeah, I do. Here. Okay.
No.
Here it is. Okay. The other, if you guys will hang with me here, the other Boom Kickstarter that I've been having issues with is an issue not just with Boom, but with the way that Kickstarters at times fulfill. I'm a very snotty person when it comes to Kickstarter. My belief is that part of the reason that you back a Kickstarter is because of the exclusivity, at least for a period of time, for the Kickstarter rewards. A couple weeks, a month. That's truly all I ask for. I get a book because I backed it on Kickstarter before Joe Schmo on the street has access to it. I think that's fair for going the Kickstarter route. When Kickstarters run afoul of that, it kind of pinches me, and I kind of lose a little bit of appreciation for whoever is using Kickstarter in that way, but also the Kickstarter process, to be quite honest with you. I mean, so one of the both of these Boom Kickstarters, I ran into that. Like I said, one fulfilled recently. The other, I left a comment on the Kickstarter that the fact that it was available on the street before any of the products from the Kickstarter were available to me as a supporter kind of torqued me. And that's all I said. I didn't get nasty or mean. I think used the phrase that I thought it was bad form. That was as harsh as I got about it. The vice president of sales of Boom Studios, Mr. Josh Hayes, took it upon himself to direct message me on Twitter because he had been told and shown and read, undoubtedly, the comment that I had left on the Kickstarter. Not anything I was after, not anything I was expecting, not anything even necessarily that they had to do. I wasn't leaving a comment or commenting to try to elicit a reaction. I was doing what everyone else does on quote unquote social media, and that is leave a comment to be seen. That's all. I wanted them to know that it was not cool. And I thought that the fact that I'm a super supporter on Kickstarter would add whatever more gravitas to the fact that I thought it was uncool.
Sure. And you're not somebody who only, yeah, like you said, you're a super supporter. You don't just back one or two people. You buy, you get a ton of stuff on Kickstarter.
Levels have been everywhere.
Yeah.
Not real extreme. I don't go for the big, like Chris wants when he looks at Kickstarters,
right?
Hardcover slipcase signed, remarked.
Yours is more about supporting. You support. We'll just throw out a number. Compared to me, I've got like my 4 or 5 people that I support all the time. You, on the other hand, back 20 or 30.
Oh yeah,
different
mostly
campaigns
indie publishers. And then if it's not an indie, it is a product that I want.
Sure.
And so that's about the only time that I will go for actual publishing companies. I normally don't mess with them too much. But Boom, of course, always catches my eye because they're one of, if not my favorite publisher right now. So Josh got in touch with me. He says, "Hey, Ed, hope you're doing well. Wanted to reach out as some folks on my team had surfaced your frustrations on the Claws Kickstarter campaign. Totally and completely understand your frustration that your rewards haven't arrived and that you're seeing versions of the book out in the wild." Oh boy, that bugs me when that happens.
Trust me, folks, it does.
Often what's happening is that the standard editions make their way through fulfillment, both Diamond and Simon & Schuster, super fast, whereas the ones for Kickstarter have to bounce over to another partner and are then packaged up with all of the extras. On yours, it looks like the pen and ink and the gift tags were what the holdup was to get that in my package. On top of that, there were some items that were delayed internationally that impacted our fulfillment start date. Takes longer to get Grant Morrison copies to sign when he's living in his castle in Scotland. Ha. Definitely not an excuse, but really wanted to let you know that we here hear you, and your frustrations are totally understandable. We're making efforts to better time reward distribution as much as we can, but sometimes the best laid plans. My team and all of us at Boom appreciate your support over the years and listen to the show. So I wanted to directly reach out to you so that you knew we were listening and paying attention to the chatter on various Kickstarter issues. Happy to answer any questions you have and hoping that the remaining clause fulfillment goes out in short order. And he and I went back and forth a couple times after that. So first of all, I do want to say, because if Josh, you don't listen to this, then someone in your office will tell you that I said this. I know that now. Thank you for this. This is not something that you had to do by any means. Certainly not something I expected, or I don't mean this in a mean way, but it's not something I wanted. It's not what I was after. But it's just, it's cool, to take that effort to speak to a fan. He may have spoken to others. I have no idea. Doesn't matter necessarily, because again, that's not, I'm not trying to rock the boat. I don't, to be honest, I just, and I'm going to drop a 4-letter word here, but I just want my shit. That's all. I'm not
like anybody else.
Yeah. I'm not going to beef. I'm not going to tell them, oh, well, I want my money back. I don't want, I want the stuff that I
just
wanted.
Want my stuff.
That's what I wanted was, so. And I do have to say, what really brought it home was another Boom Direct video, because one of the hosts did a tour of the comic book shop.
Oh, yeah.
Very close to the Boom headquarters, or across the street or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were throwing out titles. And I'm like, yeah, heard that. I'm waiting on that. It's there, huh? Okay. Oh, I don't have that one either. So I'm like, okay. And actually, I left comments.
And I feel kind of bad because I asked you, it's like, hey, did you see
have you seen
the video yet? And no, I hadn't done it yet. Okay, I'll go look at it.
Which that was a good video.
And then hours later, I get a message. Oh my God, that book's already out. It's like, that was my bad. Sorry.
Yeah, not what I wanted.
Wasn't paying attention. I was just like, hey, we at least get a little office tour, which is great. And I like Sammy a lot too.
Yeah.
Sammy's Sammy's always been good. So,
but yeah, I took notice when I heard those titles. I'm like, oh, okay. Because I don't really have a comic shop to go to. I'm probably 45 minutes away from something that someone calls a shop, and like 3 hours away from a real comic shop. So.
And, and the thing is, like you said, it's not something, it's just good customer service is really what it comes down to.
Terry and I have talked about this. When push it off a month.
Yeah.
Releasing it to the public. You're not going to lose any money. You're just going to put off for a month getting that money. I mean, you're not going to lose money by doing that.
No.
And it's not like anybody ever doesn't come out with books when they say they're going to.
Oh,
that never happens.
No.
So we've almost come to expect that, rather than look, they're out on the date they said.
I got a Kickstarter message today on a book that was supposed to come out in March of 22. I don't know if you got the same one, but it was. I don't know if you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
the name of it is irrelevant. But it was supposed to come out in March of last year. And they have about once a quarter will send an update. Now, the campaign, when it was launched, in the description said the writing, the drawing, the inking are done, and it's partially colored. It's a 40-page comic. And I'm like, okay, well, sure. And here we are.
So you mean the coloring is what has held it up this long?
That's what I'm being led to believe.
The coloring has held it up this long.
I could have colored it by now
with crayons.
I
mean, yeah.
Okay. But the response that I got today, or the update that I got, was, "Hey, don't yell at me, or yell at me if you want. I don't care. I'm just here to." Basically, the guy who was posting it or updating us wasn't even the creators that started it. He was just a guy they brought in to sort of facilitate stuff.
Right.
And so he's just like, yell at me if you want. It's not going to change anything. Like, I'm not going to yell at you, dude.
So
I understand.
what was the word?
Do what?
What was the word?
The word was like, it's not, it's, we're going to try and get something out first of the month or first of the year. I'm like,
Oh my gosh.
it's fine, dude. It's not like I even gave you that much money at this point, but it's just like, I'm still waiting on a couple other books. So it's, a
That are
40-page book. I'm waiting a year and a half on. It's not a big deal. I'm still waiting on probably my most anticipated graphic novel in the last 10 years. I'm still waiting 4 or 5 years after it was supposed to come out. So
is there any word that it even is?
oh yeah. It's
There's still
pretty
okay.
much maybe about every other month we get an update, and there is a ton of pages. A lot of it is inked at this point. It's going to be a black and white book anyway. So, but it's a huge graphic novel. So I mean, it's more than like 60 pages. I mean, it's like 100 plus pages, and this guy's doing the writing, the art, the pencils, the inks, the gray tone. Actually, I think he brought in somebody to help out with the gray tones.
And
Maybe it is colored.
the
But either way,
longer that they go with stuff like that, the less the money matters because they've burned through it.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it ends up hurting themselves far and away. It's like, I paid for you to do this in 6 months and you've
Yeah.
taken 3 years.
So when we come back,
it's
so to pull this back to the whole boom stuff. So I got off on a tangent.
that was me.
I don't back a lot of stuff, so I get irritated quicker. But it's the to see it out in the store is one thing,
Yeah.
and so that is irritating. I have been on that end of things, and it is very irritating. But at the same time, I think the product that you get because you're backing it is different. I mean, you're not getting something they just put out in the shop.
Right. Yeah.
It's, whether any of that matters to you or anything, it's not like it's a new book that you haven't read before. It
Right.
is a favorite, yes, you want to hold it, you want to have it as soon as you can. I totally get all that. But
It's on Kickstarter.
it's okay. I know.
Now,
It's just
and I will say, I have backed things on Zoop that
yeah,
have done the same thing.
yeah.
I have
Oh
backed
yeah.
things on Indiegogo, and it's done the same thing.
Yeah.
The only one that hasn't done that yet, because I've only funded like a couple things, is Fund My Comics, which I probably shouldn't tell people that because then they'll lump me in with all the righty conservative
That's Indiegogo.
comics gate people. For look at Fund My Comics. Look who's on there, and it's a yeah. So and there's another one. Did I Fund My Comics? And I think there's a fifth one out there that I recently did like one on just to see how it worked. But
Yeah.
okay, all right. So to bring this back around, let's talk about Alice Ever After.
Okay.
How does that sound? Yeah,
sounds like great.
Let's take a look at Alice Ever After. This is issue 5, which is the end
It's
of the book.
Maybe not. Hopefully not.
This one struck me as much more of a we want to do more ending than the ending of the first one did.
Yeah.
I
for
do
sure.
have to say.
Yes.
So, okay, so this is written for us by Mr. Dan Panosian.
Mhm.
The London aspects of the story, the real world aspects, are illustrated by Dan Panosian. The Wonderland make believe, if you will, although it's not really make believe, it is real. Just anyways, is Giorgio Spalletta with assistance by Cyril Glirum. All of it, it appears, is colored by Francesco Segala with assistance from Gloria Martinelli, and all of it is lettered by Jeff Eckelberry. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like 4 covers. One by Sozo Micah.
Mhm.
It's kind of a cool name. Designed by Madison Goyette. And let me flip here to my names. So,
that Sozo Micah, the keyhole cover, I saw that on the shelf.
Is that what
I
that
was
is?
like,
The keyhole cover?
that is a gorgeous cover.
Cool.
Just
Okay.
it took me a second. I was like, why do I was like, oh no, it's the keyhole cover. That
The
is
name,
such a
yeah.
good cover.
So we open straight away, which is where actually most of this series has spent its time, and that's in Wonderland.
Yeah.
Because Alice in the real world is uh, Alzheimer-ish, if I had to try to say kind of how
Not
she's
even
acting.
that. It's just she's just not non-responsive. Like she
So
just
you
grins a lot.
so you don't think she comes and goes?
As far as clarity goes, no. I think she's
She's just
she's
gone?
literally off onto
Okay.
a different planet.
Which I have a question about that here at one point in the story.
Okay.
But Wonderland, she was chasing the White Rabbit, much like Neo did in a very popular movie series to start it off. Actually, did it twice in the remake
Oh,
or
really?
the second volume. I believe also there was a scene of a White Rabbit in
I
that
did
one
not
also.
watch that. I'll have to do that.
Pretty good. Although I like the very first movie the
I have
best,
to.
anyways.
Yeah.
But no, I won't get into stuff like that because we're already off track.
Yes.
So she followed the White Rabbit because everybody in her court in Wonderland feels that she needs a king because she is the queen. She's the queen of hearts. Now, recently, it didn't show up until into the series a little bit. You find out Alice is also expecting a child. So, another reason why she should have a mate, a helpmate to help with the child. So, they early part of the series they were throwing candidates at her, and she's like, no, no, no,
It
no.
was literally everybody.
She didn't want to, but then she's like, okay, if I have to, she pulled a Pokemon and said, I choose you, and it was the White Rabbit. But the White Rabbit's, oh no, I have stuff to do, I have a place to be, and
Mhm.
things to go, and skittered off. So she followed him. We see what his life is really like because she follows him all the way back home, along with just well, no, it looks like several of her retinue are here. The dodo is here, and I see
Mhm.
at least a
Yeah.
soldier here. So Cheshire Cat shows up. So maybe everybody has caught up and followed her from her court. But the main gist of this section of the story is the White Rabbit. He has 117, I think he says, at last count, children. Uh, but that was last week's number, he says. And I want to ask, so how many times have you done it since then, dog? I mean,
Well,
it's kind of,
rabbits
I
have
understand
large
like a
litters,
rabbit,
but
but um, I think in a way Alice is like, well, obviously you would be a good helpmate with
Mhm.
my child because you have all these children and you're doing pretty good by them. Alice meets the missus who, um, does she have a name? I guess not. She didn't get a name. That's unfortunate. That'd be a good chance to throw something out there. Um, Ultimately, Alice decides, with the help of Cheshire Cat slash Dad, that no, maybe it's not the White Rabbit. Well, no, maybe I really don't want to get married. You know, actually, I don't think I want to be here anymore. Anyways, I think, I'm done with this. It's basically my thought that she's getting to is that this isn't fun anymore,
yeah.
and she doesn't want to do it because it's not the escape that it used to be. It's getting
Mhm.
too real, what too much RL going on here.
Yep.
I want to leave here. So we cut back to real life where there is another quasi confrontation with her dad and her sister over the care of Alice's child because she is very showing. She's very plump at this point. Dad is going to take the child and shuffle it off to another orphanage, which
Mhm.
we hear some word about here. I mean, you figured that's what he was going to do, but he has a very specific location that he's going to send the child. We find
Yeah.
out. The sister Edith earlier in the series said, no, her and Earl wanted to adopt the child, wanted to adopt her sister's child and raise it. Because she did not trust, after seeing what happened with Alice, she did not trust the dad. Edith did not. And all of this time, while all of this is going on, of course, Alice is comatose or catatonic or whatever the actual medical description would be for her condition. Now, in the midst of this, though, Chris, my point, Alice comes to and speaks to Edith. But then after that, we cut back to Wonderland for the resolution of the Wonderland plot. Now, does this mean when she comes to and she speaks to Edith, does this mean that the rest of the Wonderland plot occurred before she speaks to Edith here?
I don't know.
Okay, because we didn't see her kind of.
I know that they're running sort of side by side.
Okay.
For the most part. It's not like her dad says something in the real world and the Cheshire Cat says it in Wonderland or something to that effect. But all of this is obviously in her head. So I think she, much like a comatose person does, or a lot, I shouldn't say does, but like there have been reports that some comatose folks do, is that they hear what's going on around them. And so that sort of influences, much like any kind of dream state, influences what is going on in your head. So yeah, I think some of this is running sort of side by side, but I don't know if what's happening on the previous page is happening at the same time or before. I'm assuming it's along those lines.
Right.
So that's the reason why they jump in and out when they do.
Overall, it's not important, really, but it just struck me, for the whole series, she has been in Wonderland.
Yeah.
And for the whole series, she has been in this catatonic, unresponsive state. But here, and by the end of the book, for sure, by the end of this chapter, this volume, we see what it's like when her consciousness is in the real world, when that's where her mind is. But here, in the midst of this Wonderland, quote unquote, trip, she focuses enough to speak to Edith. And I just thought, well, they didn't show us that in Wonderland, but yet, so I guess
I think she's conscious enough, or at least there's a break of enough to where, she at least, I think that was the break she needed.
Okay.
Because that's when things start to go, I need to get out of here.
Right. Yeah, that's when she really decides. Yeah. So by the end of the book, Alice is once again within herself in the real world, which is London, the London environs in the, I don't know, I guess early 1900s, with a scene of the institution that she's in, the building, and then in the background. And then in the foreground, you see a nice little woodland tree kind of drawing with a rabbit with a white, I knew what those were called once upon a time, a collar, I guess is what it is, wearing a white collar, looking at the building. We don't see the face. We see the back of the rabbit as it's kind of hiding, nestled against this tree, looking at the building. But the reason I started everything the way I did is because the end question mark is the very last narration box.
Yeah.
So, so right now, Alice's baby is safe because Alice is to herself. And I'm sure whatever tests are forthcoming, she will be able to pass just fine, showing that she is indeed there. So the last we know of, she is okay and will be able to have and raise the baby.
Yeah.
The end. Or I guess more importantly, Dad didn't get the baby.
Yeah.
Is probably more. I don't want to go into any specifics about anything else because you guys need to read the books. They've been very good. Read the first volume. It's in trade. The second volume, which I'm sure just wait a month or two, Have we talked about? I don't know if I've seen the trade solicited for
I
this one yet or
don't
not.
know. Let's see. Let me look
Boom
real
is getting
quick.
to be pretty quick about stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Let me see. The trade for this actually has not been solicited yet.
okay, so maybe that'll be it'll have to be after the turn of the year because
Yep.
what we just got
At least,
previews
yeah,
for
it'll at least be March. Yeah.
previews for December for
Yeah.
February. So what'd you think about Alice Never After?
I enjoyed it. I like the way it ended. I felt like it was pretty much, I don't want to say the only way it could have ended, because if it ended any more open ended, you knew that there was going to be more to it, or like a third miniseries.
Right.
And and they want to kind of, all of these miniseries just in general, you want to wrap up a story and lead to other things if possible, if sales are there and interest or whatever. So I think it ended well. I did like the fact that it ended fairly abruptly. I mean, abruptly meaning like we knew she was trying to get out, and once she got out, she just sort of, was there. She
Right.
wasn't
She was out.
this. There wasn't this cloudy, like, I don't know. Like you said, she was. It wasn't, Wonderland wasn't fun anymore. It was too much like real life, and so if I'm gonna have to deal with real life, I need to be in real life.
Right. I'll go back to
So
real life. Yeah.
so yeah, it was pretty clear, pretty clear cut. I enjoyed it. I mean, I've been a fan of Pedosian stuff for quite some time. I've become a big fan of Spoletta's artwork throughout this miniseries. I think it's been really, really entertaining. I did like the fact that we flipped it to where he did, majority of the work in Wonderland, because I felt like his style
Oh
fit
yeah.
that really, really well.
Yeah, it really did. The weird
So,
colors and weird creatures and
yeah,
talking animals and what have you. Yeah, very
so, so yeah,
fanciful.
I'm hoping that there's obviously another miniseries down the road. I'm not in a rush for it. I think it'd be a great idea to give some time to let folks, once this trade comes out, let folks get a little more, to check that out and stuff like that. But I
Right.
know if there's going to be another miniseries, I'm sure it's going to be not too far off.
Right.
Nosian's doing a lot of work right now, which is great. But he's doing a lot of writing, and so he's got his schedule. And so if another miniseries like this fits into his schedule, cool. If it doesn't, I'm willing to wait. I
Right.
mean, but
So
yeah, definitely. If you've not checked it out, I highly recommend, like Ed said, check out the first trade, and then, if you can pick up these issues, off the shelf now. If not, you want to wait till the trade comes out. I'm sure it's going to be out March, April, something like that, because those solicitations are going to be coming out shortly. So yeah, check it out.
Cool beans.
Let's jump over to another book that ended, Wild's End number 6. I wanted to make sure that we talked about this because we have been thoroughly enjoying this. And this is not only the end of this miniseries, but it seems to be the end of the Wild's End just story itself.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of. And we'll talk about that here in a second. Wild's End is created by Dan Abnett and Ian J. Culbert, written by Dan Abnett, illustrated and lettered by Ian J. Culbert, with additional material by Nick Abnett. Abnett, I apologize. My cold is like running everything together. Several covers, about 3 or 4 covers with this. We get designers on Grace Park and Nancy Mojica. And supervising editor on this is Daphne Plebin, which I just like adding that Daphne is still doing stuff at Boom Studios.
And when I see her name, I always think back to 15 Minutes of Wade.
Exactly, yeah.
She was the producer, I think, of that. He
Yeah.
always said. So that takes me way back in Boom's history. So yeah.
So everything leading up to this issue was we'll just call them the Lighthouse aliens were, our people were trying to take out the tower that they created because it was giving off the signal that was controlling all the townspeople and everything. In order to do this, they were going to have to use Tom's uh, 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 water mine explosive to blow it up, and that was the attempt. So in doing so, they were trying to also use the lighthouse that they had been staying at to sort of be a distraction to bring all of the lighthouse or the lantern aliens to it. When they did that, they lit it up. Skip and Bernie lit it up. The aliens did go there, but one of them stayed behind to sort of keep guard, I guess. Like they were like, you can't fool us kind of thing. I think it was just probably just standard procedure to leave somebody behind just in
a rear
case.
guard.
Yeah, makes sense. I kind of went last issue like, really? They're going to leave somebody behind? I'm like, well, no, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
In a military kind of perspective.
Yeah. You never put all of your forces in one
Exactly.
place.
So, and so they go after the lighthouse, and in doing so, they leave one of the aliens behind, and so we have Let's see, it's Roddy and Flo and Tom and what's the
Eddie.
young guy's name? Is it Eddie?
Yeah.
Okay. So they're in the truck with the bomb.
This one I know is Eddie because I saw it written down.
Oh yeah. Talking about Eddie earlier.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, that was just in my head. But yeah, this one somebody says Eddie. So
yeah. And so so Roddy and Flo get out of the truck, provide a distraction while Eddie and Tom try to get the bomb closer to the to the tower, which they do a really great job. Because when I saw the flare gun, I'm like, you're just going to shoot it with a flare gun?
No.
And I was like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. And they're like, oh no, we're just going to shoot it over here, so it goes over there.
It's like, the light. There's something about light that these
job.
aliens like.
And so so the book goes, I mean, the book is a fairly serious book. It's not a comedy by any stretch. It's very dramatic, in not an over dramatic kind of way. These characters care a lot for one another and are sacrificing, themselves for the betterment of the town. They know that they may not come back to this, but at the same time, nobody has died. Nobody has, and none of the crew have died or anything like that. None of them's gotten hurt or anything like that. So when we get to the point where the detonator needs to go off, and Tom's like, no, you have to understand, I'm the detonator. He's like, there isn't a button to push.
I was a little surprised. I'm like,
I was like, oh no.
Wow. Okay.
Did not know that at all.
And
didn't realize it.
This was the plan the whole time.
Yeah. And that was Tom's plan. He just didn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
I was like, oh no, but he's the military guy. This is him. This is what he does. And I was just like, oh, this all of a sudden got really, really heavy. But Roddy or Eddie, excuse me, he's just like, all right, I get it, and takes off, and knowing what's going to happen. And he has to, well, I don't know, because he turns around and looks behind him when he sees the other aliens coming. But I'm more wonder if he's saying Tom's name, like, is Tom going to have enough time to do what he needs to do?
Telling him that the alien is there, I think is what I took that he was doing.
But Tom isn't afraid. He just, I mean, he's more annoyed with the alien more than anything, and then just detonates it and blows not only the tower up, but when the tower blows, the aliens blow up, and then that's it. That's sort of
what I was going to say. Tied to that tower blow.
That's what I was getting ready to say. The aliens tied to that tower because what they do is they look off into the distance.
Yeah,
and there's so many more of those lantern alien floating.
Like, oh man!
And you're just like, oh no! And so that's when they all realize, oh no, this is spread. Like they knew it had,
right?
But they just didn't. They thought, oh, if we take this tower out, this will be what needs to happen to sort of save everybody. And it's not that. What they discover is this is what needs to happen to save everybody. but you're going to have to now go to all the villages, all the towns and stuff like that. So this, even though this is what, the 4th or 5th miniseries or something like that, it's
At
been quite a
least the
few.
3rd, I think the 4th.
Yeah, so there's this big story that's been building, but this is the end, at least as far as we know, is the last issue of this miniseries and the story. But it is really just the beginning of their journey to save everybody. For this conflict, is still ongoing. And that's kind of how it ends. I mean, there's some other stuff. There's sort of epilogue-y kind of stuff where they're talking, about the townsfolk and sort of caring for them and stuff like that, and then kind of what needs to happen next, which was a really good, 4 or 5 pages to sort of end this miniseries on. But at the end of it all, I mean, this has just been, like I said, it's like you kind of want it to be a little humorous at times, because you're like, oh, it's animals, and it's supposed to be a little funny, isn't it? Right? And there's nothing funny about this. I mean, it's everyday, we'll say, quote unquote, everyday life. They do sort of poke fun at each other and stuff like that, but none of it is done for comedy. Right. It's all done more as sort of coping mechanisms for sort of the seriousness in which they find themselves in. So I feel like this one has been the best miniseries, but it's been a while since I've read the other ones. So I kind of want to go back, and now that we have everything laid out, I kind of want to go back and reread a lot of that previous stuff. Maybe Boom will put together a big deluxe edition, or so. I don't know if there's that much of a clamoring for this.
They don't do it on Kickstarter.
As long as they don't do it on Kickstarter. I'm sure no one heard you say that. No one.
Just release it regular avenue from beginning to end.
Hey, even if you put, I mean, it's 6 issue. What is this? This was 5, right?
5
or 6.
5, I believe. The very first volume was 4. Or no, this was 6.
So this is 6 issues, yeah. So, but yeah, I would love a deluxe edition that collected all this, because I do think
that would be cool.
I do think giving someone this book, as a birthday present or a Christmas present or something like that. This is, it's a heavy story, but it's really good.
It's 18 issues. It's 3 volumes, 18 issues.
So you could easily put that in. I mean, freaking Something Is Killing is 18 issues.
You can put that in there, put the maps from the first 2 volumes in there.
Oh, yeah. And maybe put some extra maps in there that you didn't do for this volume.
Extra maps. You could put the manifest.
Yeah, that would be
pages,
great.
This issue, this Gulfstone's Last Stand.
Yep.
Text from this issue. I remember things like this in the first couple issues. I don't remember how they applied also. You could probably almost get, with the extras and maps, almost another issue's worth, 20, 25 pages.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be 19 issues there.
Yeah.
20 to 25, I think, is usually what they put in an omnibus.
Well, I mean, Something Is Killing had 18 issues. The Once in the Future, I can't remember how many issues are actually in that one. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty, you can put 20, 22, 24 issues in there. So yeah. I think that Claws one's got like, I'm sorry.
The who?
The what? The what?
It's
got a lot. Those are big one shots, aren't they?
What? Yeah. Usually, they're more than just like, I think, 40 pages. They're usually like 50 to 60, and it has 3 or 4 of them in there. I think. Yeah. It has all of the ones that have come out. So I mean, yeah. So I'm really, you touched on it. I'm kind of sore about it most because I really want it. I want to. I want to read it. I want, I've read all those individually, but
I want to see it. I didn't have an opportunity to back it because I don't have as much expendable cash as you do. I still have kids at home, and so So I kind of want to live vicariously through you. So whenever you get it, I at least want to see some photos and stuff like
Okay,
that. So.
fair enough. Fair enough.
And I still eventually go out and buy it in the buy the one out in the shop. But I'm
Well,
gonna
yeah,
wait until you get your copy. So I don't want to.
thanks.
I'm gonna do my part.
That's
Do
it.
All right.
Um,
Let's see what else ended. Grim number
Grim,
15.
yeah,
Do you want to talk about that one?
yeah. Take a look at it.
All right.
Grim. Issue number 15 here, end of a story arc, and probably a quasi gap in publishing. They'll
I think
probably
so.
take
Yeah.
months, 3 months off.
Yeah.
This is written by Stephanie Phillips, illustrated by Flaviano, colored by Rico Renzi, lettered by Tom Napolitano, with what is that? 3, 6, 7, 8 covers.
Oh yeah, it was quite a bit. Yeah.
Logo designed by Dylan Todd, overall designer Madison Goyette. This issue opens in a location that at first is just a location, but by about halfway through the book, it actually turns into a character in the book as well because of the way the location is used. It's a diner.
Mhm.
It's a diner in Las Vegas. Is that where we have ended up
I think so.
on in this dimension? Or actually, this
I
is.
think we've just kept it in
I
Vegas,
guess this
but I
is
can't
Earth.
tell you
It's
for
not just a
sure.
dimension. I think Vegas was the last named place. I think.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing, this diner in wherever it is. Okay, let's back up. We're on Earth, our Earth,
Mhm.
your Earth, Earth. Except Earth has changed a little bit because now no one can die. So everyone is walking around sick or hurt. Not like zombie Walking Dead walking around, but like a person, walking around with crap sticking out of them, bleeding out of orifices, what have you. But it's people. They just whatever it is that normally is substantial enough to kill them isn't, because nothing can. They are effectively immortal, or they can't die. I'm sure if you did something and it completely disrupted the body into little bitty pieces,
Mhm.
they would be gone. But people can't die. We're in this diner, and the scene is the three fates, and they're not quite like the fates that you normally will see. These are a little different. I think one of them may even be drag, or if not drag,
Yeah.
um, a
So let me
yeah.
ask you a quick question
Can't think of the
about them
word I'm
being
looking
the
for.
fates. Did you know that immediately?
Yes,
Okay. I didn't. It took me a bit.
we saw
Did they
them.
actually explain that last issue?
I don't know if it was last issue, but we have seen them in the last
Oh, okay.
couple issues somewhere along the
Mm,
way,
gotcha.
and I remembered that from then.
Okay, good, because it threw me off for a bit, and then I was like, "Wait a second, maybe," and I was just like, "Okay," and I kinda went with it, so when you said it, I was like, "Oh, wait, he knew that, like, right off."
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I'm
And
just behind, so
well,
that's
no,
fine.
I apologize that I can't point to a place and say,
No,
yeah,
no,
see, they
no,
told
that's
you
fine,
here.
yeah.
But um, and then we have another kind of a minor character. The character is a priest.
Yeah.
The priest seems uninjured, but he is running around with a holy shotgun,
Yeah.
separating people who want to cause trouble from people who don't want to be troubled.
Yeah.
Kind of like a hero. He's not super, but kind of like a heroic person would do. Now, I don't know enough about uh, fiction, about literature, to to know if I am supposed to see a significance in the fact that it is the three fates, which are a separate belief
Mhm.
system, and a preacher, a separate belief system,
Yeah.
having this conversation in a diner, other than the uniqueness of that. I don't
Yeah.
know if there is an overarching message, or something else that is being
I got what
alluded
you're
to.
saying,
I don't know if that's the case. I want to feel that there is, but I have no proof for that other than just this really uniqueness of the
yeah.
situation. I don't think I've ever seen a pastor, and he's kind of a laid back pastor. He's got a short sleeve shirt on, but he does have a collar.
Yeah.
I'm sure that most of us that are in or around Christians have seen pastors. Yeah, this strikes me as almost a Baptist kind of thing that I have seen. Um, but I don't know, some laid back Methodists or Presbyterians, perhaps. I'm not exactly sure, but it is definitely a Christian pastor. The three fates, and they have a conversation. The fates are wanting to basically fill him in
Yeah.
on what is going on. First of all, because one of the fates have come up with an idea um, to to take advantage of what is going on, but not um, take advantage. Maybe isn't the best word, but they're wanting to use what's going on in
Mhm.
a way that will kind of get things going again, because everything has kind of come to a standstill. You can't have a fate or be fated to something if you can't die. I mean, death typically works into the fate of one somewhere along the way, somehow. And since death has been taken out of that equation, the equation doesn't balance. And so fate doesn't have anything to work on. They can't balance the equation, and they don't have a end of the equation. So there's not much they can do. So
Yeah.
one of them has an idea, the cross-dresser one, perhaps, if that's what it is a cross-dresser. Um, it definitely is manifesting both, in my mind, feminine and masculine
Mhm.
identities, both in the one personage. Uh, so, in a way, fortunately, somebody has come up and is unaffiliated. And hey, let me bounce this idea off of you. But first, I got to catch you up on what's going on, and then
Right.
give you my idea, and let's see what you, normal person, as normal as they get here, think. So that's what's going to go down in the diner. Now we go to hell. Haven't we all been? Oh yeah, never mind. Um, we go to hell where Jessica and Chris and I were talking about this. I think the dude's name is Eddie, but I don't remember. Um, Jessica and Dude are looking for Marcel. Mainly, the story's been about the three of them. They're friends in hell. They're former Reapers in hell. Jessica, if you've read the story, of course, has gone on to be a little bit more than that. And there's some serious pointings to the fact that everything else that is going on is Jessica's fault. And I think it being her fault is not necessarily fair, but her being could be the cause of a lot of it. I'll go that far, but I don't think it's really fair to say it's her fault, no matter what she has decided to do or not do. Yeah. So, um, but she found out that one of her best friends in hell is in a hell of his own that nobody has seen or heard from him, and she thinks that it probably is a situation that he doesn't want to be in anyways, because he wasn't really keen on being in hell. He was kind of an upper level of hell, just barely in hell, kind of having a good time kind of character at first. And now he's gone, and so she's like, well, something must really be wrong. So she and her companion have been traipsing in this last chapter, the last 5 issues, this being the last of that chapter, trying to find Marcel. Marcel is in hell because of what he did in the living. He feels that he deserves to be in hell.
Yeah.
And what has happened is the other party that is wrapped in the story of Marcel's guilt and why he feels he deserves hell. The other party agrees and wants Marcel to stay in hell forever, knowing that you did this to me and you are the cause and this is your fault and you should be
Mhm.
in hell, and it just da 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 da. And so the other party has glommed onto Marcel and his guilt, and is keeping him in not just hell, but in his own personal hell.
Yeah.
And that's what Jessica rescues him from. The reasoning and everything is pretty profound, I think. Really got into that. I don't know if that was 14 or 13. I think it was 13. 14 was something else. But there, the last half of this chapter, you really find out why Marcel feels he deserves what's coming to him. And profound and as wrong and deep as what happened, it was Marcel's fault, but there was no intent on his part.
Right.
And
Yeah.
I think intent should have a lot of weight when you are judging right and wrong. I know that, not necessarily, and I'm the first to say, there are some things that are so egregious that intent doesn't matter. Just the fact that you did is all that's necessary for, you to determine right and wrong. But there are other instances, and I don't know that the way that the Stephanie Phillips wrote this, or Flaviano and Stephanie wrote this, that Marcel was, I couldn't tell how much he was truly to blame for what happened. He was not innocent. Anyways, I think ultimately Marcel's being a little too tough on himself, so he deserves to be free and go to upper hell rather than being in deeper hell. Whatever those words mean. So Jessica and Dude free Marcel, and so they're tripping the light, fantastic, going back to the upper levels of hell, and hell starts to wig out on them. And they think, oh, well, something's going really wrong. It's like something's trying to break out or something's trying to break in because of all the agitation and the sound and everything that's going on around them that is affecting hell. We cut back to the diner where the Fates have finished catching the pastor up on what's been going on, which we know because we've been reading the book up to now. Or if not, you should be.
Yeah, you should be, yeah.
And then they hit the pastor with the final I want to say seed, but that's just a little too on the nose. The final piece of the puzzle that kind of brings the whole story together if you've really been kind of lost and trying to feel out what's been going on, because the center of this puzzle has been kind of amorphous. You haven't really been able to fix on. It's been alluded to, it's been hinted at, it's been this and that, but it's like, well, what is it? It's blurry. I can't see it. It's not, the resolution is still off. I can't quite make out what the center of the puzzle is. Well, here, as soon as she said the word, but it all starts with a seed of an idea, I was like, oh, that's it.
Yeah, when they started doing that, I was like, "Oh no!"
Yeah, so everything is starting to, and just as the one Fate says that, and the Fates, they probably have names. If I went issues back, I never go back multiple issues when I write notes for this. It's all I can do to read the one book and make notes on it. I can't go, but yeah, it's too much like WORK. And that's what I do during the day. I don't. Yeah. Sorry. 4-letter word. My bad. So when she says that, the same thing happens that we saw happen with Jessica and Marcel. Hell breaks loose. It noises and sound and like something major is going on with hell. So we go outside the diner. And about that time, we see Jessica and Marcel and Dude appear, along with virtually everyone else we have seen in the previous 14 issues. Some of them just here and there. So we don't know the person necessarily by name, but we know them by concept, or we know where they were, part of a group. So all of the parts are here all together, including the Fates and including Jessica, because it's all coming together. Jessica is attacked by someone that she immediately recognizes as Annabelle. I don't know why, but do you have any idea how that? I mean,
I don't know how she immediately knows who it is, but maybe it's just there's an aura. I don't know. But yeah,
yeah,
she just immediately is like
and
Annabelle, and I'm like, oh crap!
and
Like,
and
how do
this
you
is
know that?
yeah. I mean, this is a creature we see. It
Yeah,
bears, other than having 2 arms and 2 legs and a head, it bears no resemblance to the human Annabelle that we
yeah,
know from earlier. Because she has undergone this evil metamorphosis.
yeah.
But she has, um, oh dag, and I didn't write her name. She has the new ruler of hell with her. Um, she's captured her,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and Annabelle is using the the Queen King of Hell's powers because she has captured her. And that's part of the reason why she's so morphed out and looking so weird.
Yeah.
But basically, what it is that the Queen of Hell seeded some of her, and I'm keep using the same words. She gave Annabelle some of her power because of what she thought Annabelle wanted to do. But what Annabelle wanted to do was not what she led the Queen of Hell to
And
believe.
there's nothing leading up to that that would make us as a reader even think differently as well.
No, yeah, no, we haven't.
Like, I mean, we even questioned it at the end of that issue. Like, what is she doing? Like,
Right.
we just
What
don't
does
get
she?
it.
Yeah, what does she want? It's
Yeah.
yeah. So it turns out that Annabelle, all of her manipulations, which have been primarily in this chapter, I think we saw her earlier chapters, but this third chapter of the book, she has really pushed what she wants, and what she wants is she wants the whole. She wants to be able to control the entire reason that hell even exists,
Yeah.
and that's what it is. This um, what do they call it? A lie? Is that what they call it? A like in my mind, I want to call it the primordial lie, but they don't use the word lie, do
It's
they?
the original sin
Sin.
is what they
Yeah,
say
it's
they
it's the
call it.
first
Yeah.
sin, and I guess that is what Eve eating of the apple. Is that the
It's not even who I think they said it doesn't even it's not even who ate the apple. It was just it was just the sin itself.
okay?
So it's not the act that actually is it's not the verb sin, but it's the actual act of it, or is I forgot how they actually said it. I don't even think
Yeah,
they really got real specific with it,
no,
but
they just
it was just the concept of what was happening.
right.
You know, it
The
wasn't the
original
action
sin,
of it; it was the actual noun,
which
the sin.
again is the whole reason that hell exists.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is because that's what Annabelle, she wants to be able to control that power, which I can only assume will just give her power to, I guess, do whatever she wants to. And so the final statement for Jessica is here. Um, and I believe that we can undo what Annabelle has done, but we're going to need an army. So
Yep.
I wonder if the next chapter is going to be all fighty fighty,
I don't know. I
because there
mean,
could be a lot of fighty fighty in hell. I
would
mean,
lead you to believe that. Yeah. So so now the thing is when she didn't just bring hell to earth, she brought life, death,
everything.
afterlife,
Yeah,
everything, all of existence now exists on this one plane.
all together in the same
Yeah.
place at
So
the same time.
it's gonna be pretty interesting. So I, you know, when you think back to what the original
Oh,
arc of Grimm was,
no,
there
this
in sort of this, this larger story that, is now was like this, seed of it was planted there. But yeah, that's the really enjoyable thing about how we get books that Boom publishes. They're not the only one who does it, but when you see a mini series, regardless of how many issues it is, and so there's a concept that's there, but a lot of times, creators don't just do, hey, I just got this 6 issue story. It's all, I want to in and out and I'm done. A lot of times you do, but a lot of times you don't. And so to see, Stephanie Phillips and Flaviana, have sort of this bigger story that they wanted to tell. They just didn't know if they were going to be able to tell it. And again, probably a lot of it, sort of the details of it probably weren't all that fleshed out, but they did, have some kind of concept, because when, your publisher comes back to you and goes, hey, look, you're selling out like crazy in your first issue and your second issue and your third issue as well. Do you have some more? And so, they're like, yeah, give me a minute, and like, yeah, we've got some of these bigger concepts we were talking about, we had to sort of whittle those away. I just love, those opportunities that these creators get to sort of tell, these kind of stories. I don't think it takes much from, from Boom specifically to say, hey, we want to expand this and go beyond those issues, the initial issues. I know there is sort of a threshold that they have to break.
Right.
I mean, just for business wise, I mean, we're not even putting the creativity part of it there, but just business wise, you've got to be able to, meet certain, benchmarks. But yeah, I just, when they do, it comes down to it being an enjoyable story that the fans like. It comes down to, artwork that the fans like. And then, the fans are just like, yeah, we're here for it. Just bring us some more. And so I don't think I've heard a negative thing about Grimm since it launched. And I pay a lot of attention, not to podcasters and stuff like that, but like people on social media, on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram and stuff like that. Anytime I hear someone mention this series in particular, it's always, oh, this is one of my favorites. And that's so cool to hear. So good on them for doing so well. I am very curious on what the next arc will be, though.
I think for this book in particular, from where that first solicitation grabbed my attention to where the story sits now is worlds away.
Oh yeah.
And if this was part of what they already had in mind, that's impressive.
Yeah.
If this is where they have taken the story as they have added to it, that's even cooler, because this was the Grim Reaper, a girl. Maybe she's related to the Grim Reaper. We don't know. Oh, now she's lost her scythe. Oh, you can't lose your scythe. She doesn't remember why she's even there. I mean, just these real, almost one-off, simple things that you could almost answer with a yes or no. To now, where she's getting ready to lead all of existence, basically, in a battle against this one entity. Yeah, it's like, wow. Okay.
All right. And even, is the next arc the last arc? I don't know. You could be. But even if we get another 5 or 6 issues, I mean, this is a solid, 20, 24 issue series for sure. I don't think it's one of those series that can sustain 100 plus issues. I'm sure it could. I mean, given some time to develop to different things, but we wouldn't see these characters anymore.
Yeah, no, I think you would have to leave these characters and move to others. Yeah.
And it's just like, something is killing, there is a lead character, Erica and Jessica, but at the same time, you can easily spend a whole lot of time looking at these other characters. But anyway, but yeah, just good stuff. I can't wait to see what the next arc starts off as. It's going to be we want you, to join our army. So, all right. So speaking of something is killing, we won't go into a huge amount. I mean, we've been covering a lot of issues that have ended story arcs. And so this, I feel if we don't at least sort of mention something is killing 35, I mean, the issue sold out. So it's gone back to press for a second printing. So a lot of folks felt that it was a pretty good, it was an okay issue, I guess. So this is Something is Killing the Children, issue number 35. Showdown at Easy Creek Corral, Part 5, written by James Tunney IV and illustrated by Werther Del Dorera, created by both of them as well. Color by Mikel Muerto, letter by In World Design, a bunch of covers, and designer is Maria Cupina. So again, I'm not going to recap everything, but this is the culmination of it all. This is Gabby was shot with the poison tipped arrow in the last issue. So we now have, Erica having to fight Cutter, and then Ricky obviously, gets involved, trying to help Gabby.
Did Ricky lose that number?
Yeah. Well, no, actually, it's going to be kind of interesting.
Okay.
But we end up, and then obviously, the duplicitite, is still there. The interesting thing is, and I don't, during the fight, during Cutter and Erica's fight, Cutter removes something that's in her head, which is the first time in Erica's head, which is the first time I've ever seen that thing.
I have no idea what that reference is about,
and and I don't know, but Cutter makes a point of saying, "I'm going to take it all away. I'm going to make you can't make it so you can't see them or hear them." So one of the things that they've really sort of hit home in this particular story arc with Gabby and Ricky is that Gabby can see the monsters and Ricky can't. And so because Ricky is obviously older, and so is Erica sort of aging out of the ability to see the monsters, and this device, whatever it is that Cutter is, unlodged from her skull, is that sort of something that she uses, as an older, she's not a kid anymore. So as an older person, is that what she needs to be able to see the demons or see the monsters? Because when she fights the duplicitite, she can't see it. So, so is this something that all of the older members of the houses have to have? Is this whatever this little device is that's, sort of keeping them attuned? Because as soon as she looks at the duplicitite after she takes out Cutter, she sees it and then it just goes away. And then it's like, and I was like, oh crap, I realize what that is. That's some sort of receiver or something. And so, this is a pretty big issue because, like, I feel like, obviously I'm trying not to make this too long. Everything has been boiling to this point, and what is going to happen. I think we both said, as this thing was building up, that we didn't think everybody was going to make it out. We just didn't know who. It made more sense, at least for me, that Ricky might not make it out because she was going to try to defend Gabby against the thing she couldn't see. Cutter was just going to do something, it was all kinds of different scenarios. But, we come down to Cutter being taken out, the duplicitite being taken out, and then Gabby dying. And I didn't see Gabby dying as being one. Now, I saw the possibility of it last issue was when she got shot, but they have done a very good job of, even though this is a very supernatural kind of series, that, people aren't pulled back from the brink of death. It's like, no, that's how that was going to be. So, we kind of get, Erica is now back on the run, but she's got more chasing her now than just the house. She now has Ricky chasing her.
I don't think the house is chasing her.
I don't think the house is chasing her anymore. Yeah, you're probably right.
I think Cecilia is like, well, actually, Cecilia had them convinced that the duplicitite was
Erica. Yeah, she was definitely trying to throw off that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And Ricky was trying to tell anybody that'll listen, no, that's the monster. She is still alive, which she now has a mad on for Erica because of how everything happened. So.
Right. And so now this is the end of this particular big story arc. We've been getting, this whole series, Tynion's done a really great job of doing sort of big overarching arcs and having sub arcs in them. This is the end of this big. So we're going to be away from the series for a little while. I don't know how long because it's not been, I don't think 36 has been solicited yet. No, it doesn't look like it has. So it's at least March, April before we get a new issue of this. Who knows where that's going to go now? Because a lot has now changed. The house isn't after her. Ricky's after her, and whatever that device was that was in her head, that's no longer there. And I was kind of flipping through the issue shortly after that. There's nothing that makes me believe that, Erica picked it back up or anything like that. Like it's just gone. So what does that do for her? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. So, but as far as the end of this being the last issue of this major arc, I don't think it could have gone down any better as far as just a reading experience. I think this was it looked great. It was drawn. I mean, we talked about last issue with the horse, Werther's, he has stepped up his game. Not I say step up his game. It's not even that. He's always been good. It's just every issue there's just this little bit of tweak. There's a little bit of growth. There's a little, and you look at him from the first issue of this series when because we looked at the black and white or the pen and ink. I mean, that was really, really good. It was very moody and it still has that look about it, but there's some of that fine tuning that's, taking place now. And it's just gotten to be, it's still a really, really great looking book. And reads as I talk about this book all the time. It's still one of those books I can't help but talk about with people. If you mention any kind of horror, anything or suspense or anything like that, this is the thing I'm going to talk to you about, and I'm going to make you probably sick of me, talking about it. But good stuff. I enjoyed it. I can't wait for more, obviously. So, what'd you think?
I think she's not even going to be able to hear from her familiar either.
That's a good point.
She was sitting there on the bus staring at the doll.
Yep.
And I mean, there's nothing to lead you to believe that the doll doesn't speak every time, but removal of whatever that device was prevents her from seeing the monsters.
Yep.
So if it's a connection to monsters, there's a monster in the familiar, and she's just sitting there on the bus staring at it. So I'm like, so basically you're just
powerless
chick now. You're as normal as you're going to get. I mean, she still has her fighting abilities and whatever.
Oh yeah.
Her martial abilities, but it's like, yeah. So it'll be interesting to see a Slayer who's deaf and blind, essentially.
Yeah, and she has no sort of support system. I mean,
Nope.
Cecilia.
No,
I mean,
Cecilia's not.
nobody's coming after her right now.
But Cecilia's not going to help her.
Cecilia's not going to. Yeah, she's not going to be the intel.
And
but I am very curious if we don't see Erica showing up on the doorsteps.
Well, and I'm wondering if Cecilia isn't worried about her because she knows that she's been kneecapped.
Right.
And so essentially there is nothing to worry about because she is not what she was.
Yeah. But is Erica still bullheaded enough to try? It's all those things. Is like, what is the next arc going to be like? What is that next story going to be like? And I mean, if you need to take a year off to figure out what that story is, take the time.
Fine.
Yeah, it's not gonna. None of us are going anywhere.
We've had 35 issues, so we if we really have to get something, we can go back and read any of those.
And House of Slaughter will still be going.
Yeah,
there's it's not like we're missing out. There's going to be Book of Slaughter. So we'll get some Maxine story and stuff. So we're still getting stuff.
If you want something completely different, pick up Blue Book.
Exactly.
So there. That's
It's not that. Yeah, it's not that Tynan doesn't have anything else to do.
If you want to follow him around, look for Blue Book. That's where he is next.
Yep. So, but good stuff. Yeah, good issue. Good issue.
Yep.
All right.
Let's take a look at Stuff of Nightmares. SLAY Sleigh Ride.
I was like, are you going to just spell Sleigh Ride out?
Get it?
But I get what you did.
Okay. It is created and written by R.L. Stein, illustrated by Pius Bach, colored by Francesco Segala, lettered by Jim Campbell. 8 covers looks like.
It's a lot of covers, yeah.
Yep. One by Ejikuri, the Rated Comics exclusive variant.
Oh yeah.
The one-word names just attract my eye for some reason. Logo designed by Becca Carey with designer Nancy Mojica. So this starts with the Crypt Keeper telling. Oh no, I'm kidding. It's not the Crypt Keeper. Although there is a Crypt Keeper like character who.
Yep.
I wondered if it was this dude, Heinrich Fiddler.
Oh, it's
because he would fit the profile though. He's all covered up, and dude got burnt up.
Well, it's true. That's a good point. And he says he does like the story.
Is all burnt.
He does.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I don't know where that came from. I have no explanation for that. And for those of you that did get the song that I was referencing there, good on you, because I'm sure that wasn't a very good rendition, but it popped into my head. So what podcasting is all about, off the cuff.
There you go.
I have some notes, but they're minimal. So everything else I say is off the cuff.
That's why I come to this show every week.
It's it, man. What is going on this time? We do have a storyteller, much as we did in the previous horror book by R.L. Stein that he put out. A more adult horror book through Boom. Now he did his normal Goosebumps type stuff, a short series also, which I did not read because typically R.L. Stein just is not my bag. I don't go for horror stories per se, but curiosity, and I'm glad I have, because these have been entertaining at the very least. And that's the whole reason I read, is to be entertained. Are you not entertained? Sorry. Yep. So we start though with first of all, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. The cover. The cover is your typical Christmas tree scene with a bloody Santa with red eyes and rats and body parts hanging by the chimney with care.
Yeah.
And a ornament that looks like what is the character from the Evil Ernie that is just the button?
Oh, Smiley?
Is that what his name was?
I
Smiley?
think it's Smiley or
It
something like
looks like
that. Yeah.
it's a Christmas bulb, but that's what it reminded me of, is the
Yeah.
little button Evil Ernie will wear. Yeah, not your traditional hearth scene at all. And Santa Claus, bloody Santa Claus is holding a chainsaw. That's
Yeah.
probably why he's all bloody. So
Yeah.
a very non-traditional Christmas hearth scene. But the story starts with your more traditional family. A family of 4, mom and dad and 2 kids. Fireplace, presents under the tree. Santa Claus, next panel, holding a big sack with a chainsaw strapped across his back. He gives everyone their presents, which turns out to be rats. That's what he had in the sack.
Just
After
it's
tying
such
mom and
a
dad up,
I've
it,
seen a movie or something like that,
it
and I'm
was
like, "Oh, I know what's coming next."
it's very over the top. But
Yeah.
so it's a very homicidal, evil Santa Claus
Yep.
in the first scene, and then we cut to the storyteller, who's talking to his manservant, Reggie the manservant,
Yep.
who probably is the normalest looking person in the whole book.
Yes.
Really, I mean, he just looks like an elderly, an older, overweightish manservant with a little, Frenchy kind of mustache, guys, the little thin one that you just dastardly kind of, yeah, the animated dastardly mustache. And then we cut to the story of Henrik Fiddler, which the sequence of events is what we open the book with is, in essence, a snippet of what happens. It's not now, but it's not the very beginning of the story either. It's an occurrence of during the night of nightmares of Henrik Fiddler, Santa Claus, that the storyteller sets up for us, and then we start to see the story. And it revolves around Henrik Fiddler, a seasonal Santa Claus who goes in one day and finds out that his job has been cut. It's the only job he has. It's the only thing he likes to do. He looks forward to this every year, being a Santa Claus in this store, in a mall store. Goes in, finds out that, not only are we not doing Santa Claus, we're not doing toys. The store is probably going to close. The mall more than likely is going to close. Heinrich comes up, well, how about, if I do it in this department, or if I do it in this location, or trying to hold on to his job. And the store manager's like, no, get out. And he just keeps pushing until poor Heinrich snaps. And then the rest of the story is the result of a snapped store Santa Claus, Heinrich Fiddler, and how he deals with the fact that he has snapped. He is homicidal. He is he's not suicidal. But he's every other kind of sidle that you can think of that is does not fit into society.
Right.
He just goes crazy, terrorizing people right and left, day and night. Even convinces a couple dudes in a bar to join his nefarious plans. Fortunately, that doesn't turn out the way he thought it would. Turns out that those guys are not what they presented themselves as, but they in turn help bring Heinrich's homicidally to an end. But it's very very 80s slasherish, cinematic, C horror movie kind of. Billy D, I think you would really like this horror movie, and some of the other guys there on the Twitter page that I'm on. I think you guys would appreciate this. Yard Sale Artist. I think he would appreciate it for what it is. This would be a movie that you rented once when you were in high school on VHS,
Oh yeah,
and you have been
100%.
looking for it since then because it was only out on VHS, and you have
Yes.
never seen it again. But you want to try to
That
find
is a
that.
great description. Yeah.
That it's this kind of movie.
Yep.
R.L. Stine did a really good job. The art is for the amount of violence. The violence is easily discernible, but
Yeah.
it's not intimately detailed.
Yeah. It's not gratuitous.
No, the drops and splatters are big. They're not perfectly formed. Teardrops that shine in the light, or it's not. You get the full intent of everything that happens, but yeah, it's
sure.
not. It's gory, but I don't. For me, descriptively, I would not call it gruesome in its detail, but it is gory because dude is unhinged. I mean, after he gets fired, he's not. And I know this isn't PC, but I really don't care. He is really unhinged, and he looks like Santa. He's big and he's overweight, and he's bald on top, but he's got white hair. He's got a big white beard. He is almost Santa year round with just a little bit of help, and he's ready for his holiday stuff. So he looks the part, and that helps him a couple times do some things. Some humor when he goes and tries to find other places that he can Santa at after he's let go.
Oh yeah.
One of the places is a tech shop that it's like the computer department in Best Buy. It's like, dog, we don't do Santa here.
I like the dollar store.
The dollar store Santa.
The car wash. The drive-through car wash.
Yeah. So dude tries. He genuinely tries
man.
to find a Santa job for the holidays, but it doesn't work. Ultimately, there is a cool twist at the end. Yeah, that twist leads to his downfall ultimately, but it was a cool twist because it got me too. I was like, oh, well, okay. But 2 or 3 pages later, it's like, okay, that didn't happen. Okay, I see. And yeah, that ultimately is one of a couple things that leads to Santa's downfall. The 2 dudes that he tries to get to help him in the bar, that is half of his downfall.
Yeah.
And then this other instance that I'm speaking of, there's one scene here where he runs a Christmas tree through a guy that he finds walking on the street with a Christmas tree. I mean, he just
classic 80s.
It just runs him through. Like I say, he does have a chainsaw. His final scene, he doesn't really get to use it, but he's got a chainsaw with him. And then in the opening scene, he definitely has it strapped to his back, but he doesn't use it. He uses a sack full of rats instead. Never says if they've been naughty or nice. He just lets loose with a sack full of rats.
He just went down on him.
But yeah, it's and the way that it ends is kind of taking the Santa Claus myth and using a portion of it, and it's like, yeah, okay, I could see that. That's a good way for it to end. The final scene is the storyteller who is he looks like the Invisible Man, really. He's completely wrapped up in wrappings. He's got glasses on, and he's got a sitting suit like 18th century gentlemen would sit in front of their fire at night after a hard day in the office, bilking the common man out of his money. Ascot, and so that is our storyteller.
Yeah, that he definitely has a really cool design.
It's different.
The character design is great. But
it's not your normal skeleton or zombie or something like that maybe you would think, or your big bosomed woman or what have you.
This was a pretty good issue. I've enjoyed all the Stuff and Nightmare stuff. It's all been surprisingly it's like I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I do. Now that I see it, I'm just kind of like, yeah. Just whatever the next issue is.
I want to see that. Yeah,
I want to see what the next one is.
Yeah.
I didn't know how R.L. Stine would translate into sort of an adult horror kind of thing. And there is camp to the stuff that he's done, but it is, like you said, a very sort of 80s slasher kind of camp to it at times. There is definitely some shock and awe to it all. It's been great, and he's had some pretty good artists on board who really can sort of convey that creepiness, and not sort of overwhelm the reader with too much gore. They sort of let the suspense of the story and the kind of do all that. But yeah, good stuff. I've thoroughly enjoyed these. All right, so let's see. We're coming in on 2 hours. We got a couple of books. I do. We could talk about Berserker, but I think everybody kind of knows our spiel on Berserker.
He lives.
It's a good book. It's written by Madison Tomlin, who's going to be writing and directing the Berserker stuff for Netflix. It's I think it's a solid issue. We could talk about Sirens of the City #5, which I think the next issue is the last issue.
Right. I do have a question about Berserker.
Sure.
Have we ever seen him pop out of an egg formed from his own blood before?
Yes. We saw it.
Really?
Excuse me.
That happened in the series?
He's had to do it in the series when he was at Ground Zero.
Yeah, when they were testing on him to see how far they could push him or whatever that was.
I think that's been the only time. Now let me. The question I had.
Oh, you probably missed her, but Terry Moore stepped into the room.
No, I didn't see her. I'm sorry.
Yeah, over my left shoulder, but she did everything she could to stay out of the camera.
She ran out of the room.
And apparently it was successful. Yeah. So, but she was here, guys. She exists.
She does exist.
She was just here.
The takeaway that I did have, or the question I did have with this particular issue, is that I didn't know, or maybe it's what this is saying at some point in his past, that the Berserker rage was sort of in this issue it was a countdown, basically. Like he had to. It was like he was going to turn into a werewolf or something. Like
it was cyclical. It was every.
That's not been the case.
Whatever period to it. I guess that was before he learned to control it.
I guess so. That was the only. That was the only thing. This is, he definitely had some sort of cycle of violence that was crucial to the story. So,
I didn't see the double cross. Did you?
I did not see that coming.
I didn't see that coming either.
And which made me like it more.
It's like, you got me. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
But let's talk about Slow Burn #2. We will cover Sirens of the City. The thing is, we gushed so much about the first 3 issues. We didn't talk about issue 4. Yeah. I think issue 6, when that comes out, we're definitely going to cover it. But I do really want to talk about Slow Burn because I really enjoyed it. Okay. This is written by Ollie Masters, illustrated by Pierluigi Minotti.
Pierluigi Minotti.
Minotti, thank you.
Pierluigi.
Color by Alessandro Santoro. Letter by Hassan Asamni Elhoa. I never can pronounce his last name. I apologize.
Atzman. I'd say Atzman Elau, but yeah.
And then I'm going to start choking at the same time. So
unfortunately, I have heard someone pronounce this.
I have too, and I
forget completely how.
I need to go back and listen because I have heard his name used a bunch of times. And then designer is Madison Goyette. So, since we're running sort of tight on time, I'm not going to do a full recap. But what we do get in this issue, the previous issue, we didn't know the lady whose house they broke into and tied up. Her name is Patty. And this issue is a issue primarily focused on her. We get what her sort of backstory is, why she's still in the town, you know, reasons why everybody's left, nobody else is there, what she's been doing this entire time, why she hasn't left. I think I said that already. And it really, you know, I really enjoy this issue because it stopped on a second issue to say there's more to this character than we led you to believe. We told you a lot about our other characters who sort of caused everything. We're not just going to say this is just some lady that they just tied up and, you know, that's just the end of her story. She gets untied, we end up having Luke dies, after his injuries from the first issue. um we've Patty ends up basically touring the town or showing Roxanne around the town because the violin ends up going missing, gets taken from the house, and so they have to go searching for it. And you know and so there's a lot of time we're just getting with Patty, and it's just that story of her history, her past and everything, um is heartbreaking, because of what has happened in this town. And like you were talking about earlier, we kind of get a sort of an explanation or a story or in story explanation, of why some of the fires are burning, and some of the cause of it. It's and Patty's tied to it, and it's just this is a heavy issue, and it's not sort of I didn't think last issue was a light issue by any stretch, but I feel like Masters kind of came in and said, all right, that was a lot going on in that. We're gonna pump the brake a little bit, focus over here, but there's a whole different. We're adding a whole new thing to the story now because of her. And then as this particular issue ends, we get is it Tim's dad? Explain he's got dementia, and so he's like thinking that Roxanne is her mom, and explaining something that he killed her, and so she's confused, and so you're finding out you know something in addition to that. So there's a lot of layers to what's happening to these characters, and there's still more. We know from the first issue, folks are coming after the violin or coming after Roxanne, and all this. So there's a lot going on. I like that the fact that this is the series is called Slow Burn because it's it means so much. There's so much meta textual meaning behind it, from all of these stories that are happening, and we're only 2 issues in. um this has just been a solid issue, and I'm really, really curious on just what more in addition to we're going to be getting, as this. I don't think Ollie Masters is a writer who is adding stuff just for the sake of adding because he didn't know where else to go. I think there's definitely there's definitely context that we're going to get as this series continues. But yeah, it was just a really, really solid issue.
It was fun. I liked it. I think I took the explanation of Patty as being an extension of the fact that the setting is a character and she ties into the setting.
Yeah.
I I remain to be convinced that Patty will be important so far.
Okay.
But she could be ultimately. I mean, we have no way of knowing. But I took the Patty storyline to be more an opportunity to explain to us the setting, which now becomes, in my mind, a character as
Okay.
much as any of the others because of Patty. The setting and Patty are now tied together, and so could
No, that
be,
makes sense.
if Patty actively does something, then she will separate herself and she will become, of course, her own character important to the story because whatever happens. But
Yeah.
I definitely am curious to see how much more now the town as a character is used,
Yeah.
because it's an interesting place for these people to wind up.
Oh
You know,
yeah,
I
for
mean,
sure.
I can't imagine you're just going to let that sit when you've gone to all the trouble of putting them there in the first issue and then explaining
Yeah.
even what happened to cause it in the second issue,
Yeah.
to then just drop it and say, oh well,
Oh
our
yeah,
house in the
yeah.
middle
That's
of
why
the
I said I
street.
don't think Masters
So
is using any of this as sort of filler. It's definitely, when you're doing a mini series, you don't have time for filler.
right, yeah,
And so I think you are right. Think I didn't think too much about it being sort of establishing the city or the town as a character, but it is necessary. Like we didn't get any of that in the first issue. And
right,
unless you knew more about the town
right.
through solicitations and interviews and stuff like that, you wouldn't know all of that just sort of on the surface. You might,
But yeah,
but
yeah,
but
maybe. I mean, you definitely, after that first issue, would know, man, something is up with the town. There's nobody
yeah,
there, but yet this one girl is still here. Why is she
yeah,
still here if nobody else is here?
yeah.
Yeah,
So
Centralia, right? I believe was the name of the town, Centralia, Pennsylvania. Not in the
something like
story, but in the real world,
you're real, yeah.
I believe was the name of the town. Silent Hill, if you're a game player, is the name of the town.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah,
you, you've reminded me of that like 3 times, and I'm like,
it's
because
the
I don't play the game, so it just
well,
never
and
sticks with me.
yeah, it's kind of depending on how much you play the game, it's kind of a stretch too. It's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, Terry Moore, Water Girl. Yeah, see, that's what she did. She brought me
Oh
some
yeah, she
water to
brought you your
drink.
water.
So, yeah, uh, not to be confused with Water Boy, the movie. This
No,
is
no,
Terry Moore, the
something
Water Girl.
fine H2O.
Yeah. So the grandpa is saying that his son told him to kill the son's wife,
Yeah,
who the son and wife are the mom and dad of Roxanne.
yeah,
This is Roxanne's grandfather. And then, like you said, now Luke is dead, so he's out of the story. So it's
yeah,
just Patty and Roxanne, the two girls, and Grandpa the crazy man,
yep,
who apparently did something with the violin. We're not too sure about
yeah.
that.
We're still not too sure about that. Yeah,
If not, then that means that there is somebody else now
yeah. There's
a-
a yeah
around town,
another
that we
party.
haven't
Yeah,
seen. Yeah. So those are our dramatis personae, if you will, for the next issue: Patty, Roxanne, and Grandpa,
yeah.
the town, and let's see who else. Because as of the first issue, there is another group of people that are after the violin,
They're
who
coming.
know
Yeah,
that Roxanne, actually, it's her dad, know that Roxanne has it.
yeah,
So he knows where to find it if he can find her. Um, yeah, so we didn't see him this issue. I fully expect to see him next issue.
yeah,
And at that time, if it gets into some kind of running, issue, I fully expect the town's character to play more of a part. People falling, people disappearing, people,
oh, we've already
weird things
established
happen.
sinkholes and stuff like
Yeah, and
that.
stuff like
So
that. So,
yeah,
yeah, we'll see what happens next issue.
yep. It's a good stuff. So yeah, so that is all. That's a lot of books, and we still didn't cover everything that came out in the last couple of weeks.
Space the space in between, or space
Yeah,
between.
yeah,
Um, they experience, by the end of the book, a full out revolution on a spaceship, which just has to be a horrible idea.
yeah,
Uh, but I mean, complete with explosions and venting atmosphere.
Not terrible as like storytelling, but just terrible
No.
just as a space station goes.
Yeah, whose idea is that that's how we're gonna do stuff? You know, we're gonna revolt and blow shit up. It's like, you're in space. What are you
You're in
doing?
space. Someone is not thinking of
You know, it's
what
like
ramifications of your
running
actions.
around with projectile weapons. It's like, what?
It's like the guy who shoots the gun on the airplane. It's like, are you not thinking?
And dude, what is his name? Pari? Is that it? Pari?
Yeah.
He has to be one of the most freaking naive people I have ever seen in a comic book.
I felt that way in the first issue.
Really, I didn't think he was. I didn't think he was as naive as he is this issue.
Yeah.
I mean, he is full on used like a roll of toilet paper in this issue, and I'm just like, it's not possible that somebody that is like that could be living. It's just how. Oh, it's so frustrating.
I got to the end of that issue still not convinced. Like, I was hoping the second issue would convince me that my thoughts of the first issue were like, I should have waited to see. And I still don't feel that way. I still feel like it's just not a story for me.
I fully can understand that. It's a very political story with a very now edge to it, I think.
Yeah, I guess.
Contemporary edge.
Yeah.
So.
It's just, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it's one of those things, you know, I continue to read stuff that is not exactly my favorite thing to read all the time. So it's not like I'm gonna stop reading the book or anything like that. Because I do, you know, it's sometimes reading a book, and it's not a bad book. The execution is not. I don't think the execution is what my issue is. My issue is just I don't like the story. I feel like so many things, and they do, you know, in the first issue, a lot of time jumps and stuff like, which is fine, but it felt like the first issue was sort of really, really rushed to then tell this other story.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like,
to get to the point where you could tell that it's like, why didn't you just start by
put us there? Right. Yeah. I could have been a little more on board with it. So
we would understand the situation between the haves and have-nots just by telling us that that's how it's divided. You know, it's like, okay, that's cool. I get that. We've seen those stories before.
Some flashbacks, like, oh, you remember how they got together? You know, that kind of thing. Do a one pager, if that. Yeah,
the one day at band camp and all that.
No, literally, yeah. It's like, oh my god. So I've never seen a boy before.
That dude is just oh man. And unfortunately, he didn't get vented in the atmospheric explosion there. It might have been more beneficial to the story if he had, but he's
like, oh my,
he's still around.
All right, let's get out of here.
Okay.
2+ hours. I think we did. I think we covered as much as we could.
I think that's good.
Obviously, we didn't cover stuff like Ranger Academy, ORCS. You know, first issue of that. Buffy, we didn't cover. But still, we covered as much as we could.
Met Cadets from way back. Hunt for Skinwalker.
Oh god, yeah, we still have all those.
Damn them all. Yeah,
we'll,
issue 10.
But yeah, we'll start covering. We'll get back onto those. With
we'll catch everything up. Yeah, like Skinwalker. That was issue 3. I think it's going to be a 5 issue. So
yeah,
I'm pretty decently versed on the whole Skinwalker.
Yeah,
I could sum almost everything up pretty quickly when we talk about issue 5.
No, okay.
So it's, you know, that's not an overly deep book as far as. So Damn Them All, I don't think is going to substantially change from what it has been in 2 issues. So we've got a pretty good handle on it. Met Cadets, I think is the same way. I can't imagine it taking a major swerve anywhere at this point in the story.
No, no, I don't think so.
So
But we'll see with the next issue, because I
Ranger
know that
Academy, yeah.
we'll see. All right, so you can come on the website, boomaddiction.com, comicaddiction.net. Email address is boomaddiction. You can be like Peter. Send us an email at
Thank you,
boomaddiction@gmail.com.
Peter.
You can find us on Twitter at boomaddictions. You can follow, or boomaddiction, it's not plural.
Addiction, just one. We only have the one
plural.
addiction.
Yeah, that's all I need at this point.
Yeah.
You can find Ed at Twitter on Teal Productions. That is plural. You can follow me at Chris Parton. You can find the forums at justotherfanboy.freeforums.net. You can find our Facebook page if you look for Fans of Boom Studios. So those are all the ways to find us and get up with us and all the whatnot. If you want to catch us live, we do it every-ish Monday night now, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to follow us on Twitter. You'll definitely know that. If you're subscribed to us on YouTube or in our Facebook group, you'll definitely see a notification that will be coming. I try and get those up a couple hours before the show, sometime around lunch, sometimes, depending on what my day's like. So those are the best ways to know exactly if we're going to be doing a live show or not. The website obviously has new episodes posted, but you can also follow all of that, either one, Facebook page, 2, YouTube, but we also, wherever you can listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Music, all those things. If you listen to us on any of those podcast catcher device thingamajiggers, if you want to leave us a little star rating or a review of some kind, that'd be cool. If you do, let us know, because we don't check those things out all the time. And so I hate to see somebody do something 6 months after the fact, not be able to thank you for that. So definitely let us know. That's great. If not, at least talk about us. Don't talk about us. Tell folks about us. If you talk about us, that sometimes feels negative. But tell your friends and folks about us. Let them know what we're doing, and talking about Boom Studios stuff. I'm sure at some point I will watch Mech Cadets, and we can talk about it. I'm probably, you don't think so?
No, you'll never see it.
I have watched the first episode of the Doctor Who stuff.
Oh, well, there's only been 3.
There's only been 3, but I watched one. That's an hour long. That's the longest my attention span has been captivated.
And actually, to really understand everything, you probably need to go back and watch the final episode of the last season.
I'm not going to do that. That's too much for me.
Because apparently there's something that happens there that opens up and explains, which I was wondering about, explains why a previous Doctor is able to
they explain that. Again. They explain that in this stuff too, yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, so I have been watching a little TV, not much, but a little bit. So, but yeah, those are all the ways to watch us and find us and listen to us and contact us and all that. Thank everybody who has been checking us out live. Appreciate that. If you're listening to us after the fact, thank you very much. We appreciate all of you. And as always, Ed, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
And we will catch all of you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Ciao.
And everybody who's still with us on the stream, thank you very much. We are going to sign out because I am doing my best not to cough all over the place. So thank you for listening. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.